I was in Washington, D.C. not long ago for to help usher in Adam Sandler getting the Mark Twain Award, because Mark Twain, Adam Sandler are often mentioned in the same breath. And it was a really fun event. A lot of people came out for it, including the ghost of Twain, who was not happy. But that aside, because I was in D.C., I reached out to Jake. I let him know that I was in town, and you invited me over to your home.
Yeah, he came over to the house.
Oh.
We had dinner at our favorite restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was...
It's actually it's a very good restaurant where Wolf Blitzer shows you to your table. It's called Blitzers, and they just sell blintzes.
That's it. But many flavors.
Yeah. Oh, so many. There's 36 flavors of blintz, and he shows you to the table, and then it's embarrassing because he hangs around until you tip him. But we had you guys. We were very nice because you invited me to your home. And I don't think I told you this, but I got there, I took an Uber over, and sometimes Uber's not precise, and I took an Uber over from my hotel to the address that you gave me for your house, and I realized I'm like 10 minutes early, so I'm just going to walk down the street. It's a really nice neighborhood, and I'm walking down the street a little bit, and this father-son come walking up the street. They're walking their dog, and they said, hey, if you're lost, Jake's up that way.
Wow.
And they pointed me to your house.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess it's so clear that I'd be the only person I'd here to, be seen with is Jake Tapper. But anyway, we went out. We had a really good time. It was fun. And then this is where you and I are in such symbiosis. You said after dinner, we went back to your house and you said, here, I want to show you something. And we walk around the neighborhood. And you said, see that house right there? That's where Lyndon Johnson lived when he was in the Senate. And then he was like, let's go this way. And then he shows me another house. And he was like, see that house? That was
J. Edgar
Hoover's house. And I said,
Clyde.
And Clyde. And I was like, this is fantastic. And of course, I know that about you because in your books, and you're here to talk about, among many other things, you've got a new book, All the Demons Are Here, and you're picking up on these characters. He's actually the children of the two characters you've been describing and depicting in your other books. But you have all these great pop culture references and political references to the 1950s and 60s in the other books. And I love that stuff. Yeah. I can't get enough of it.
You were one of the first, I sent a copy of the first book to the Hellfire Club, which takes place in 1954 and has our favorite president, President Eisenhower, as a character in the book. And that was really exciting because it was basically a book written for me and you.
Yeah. No, I actually fact-checked the book. I was like, wait a minute. No. He had his heart attack in his second term. I saved you from massive lawsuits.
That was close.
My life has changed so much, Sona.
Has it?
Yeah. Let me tell you how. I can just get all this stuff delivered right to my door. I mean, if you grew up when I did in the early 1920s, that was unheard of, A kid in a cap had to, hey, boy, and you'd say, yes, sir, and you'd have to say, toss him a coin. Go get me that goose in the window. And he'd say, yes, sir, Mr. Scrooge. But that was like back then.
Yeah, but now it's not.
With so much of our world digitized and automated, why stick to old school mailing and shipping? If you mail or ship often, let Stamps.com do the hard part for you. Mm-hmm. Simply print postage and shipping labels right from your home or office. It's ready to go in minutes. No long lines or complicated setup required. It's the easiest, Sona.
It's the best.
Yeah, postage rates just increased again. Hello. Luckily, Stamps.com has the best discounts in the industry. Avoid the hassle and get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up at Stamps.com/Conan for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com/Conan. Jake does a very good job of, and I'm not talking like you're not in the room, but I'm instructing. These two don't read. They don't know how to read.
They don't. They don't read.
Well, no, you read the novelizations of old Dynasty episodes.
Okay.
But
No.
That sounds pretty good.
they're actually very good.
So you do too.
Yes.
He writes them.
I write them.
Is that a real thing? The
No,
novelization?
it's not.
No,
But it will be.
I don't think so.
It will be.
That's $1 million idea.
Well, let's do it. You heard it here first.
That's really good. Have you ever those clips pop up every now and then, like an old Dynasty?
Oh, they're
No,
fantastic.
they don't, Jake.
Not on TV, on like Twitter or whatever.
Oh.
They'll be like Alex Carrington. Is that the name
Yes.
of the characters?
Alexis
Carrington, and
I loved how many times one of them got shoved into a pool. They just decided that was what you do is when one woman with wearing a dress with massive shoulder blades and a massive ring, who's an icon, pushes another into a pool.
a lot of pools were handy. Back
Yes.
then, it seems.
And sadly filled with acid. You'd hear, and then a skeleton would float to the top. Listen, we got way off topic.
Okay.
What I was trying to say to you guys is that Jake takes all of these true life events and he writes these novels, and All the Demons Are Here is one of them. And they're really, I enjoy them so much because he has got the characters bumping into people from in the, let's say, late 40s, early 50s. Then this was the second book was in the 60s.
Second book is The Devil May Dance, and yeah, that's the Rat Pack. And
Rat Pack.
Sinatra's like a big character in it, yeah.
Right, and I love you have members of the Rat Pack out trying to help solve the crime, which was really funny to me. That it's just like, no, I think they wouldn't have been in any shape. Dean Martin's like, now hold on a second.
And then this one's 77, and like the main character, one of the main characters is Evil Knievel.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Evil Knievel's one of the main
Now you weren't alive because this takes place in 77 and it takes place after Evil Knievel's jump of
I
Snake
was
River
born
Canyon.
in 73.
Okay,
So
but you don't.
you were one when the Snake River jump
But
happened.
boy, was I there.
Yeah. I remember
Biggest fan.
there is footage of a little boy wearing a tweed suit and large glasses that only an adult would wear.
I stowed away in his saddlebags and made the jump with him.
Yeah, they said he would have made it, but he was unfortunately 1.5 pounds too heavy, and it was all tweed. I remember that. Now you and I
wear this goddamn sweater.
you and I would have similar memories because in this book it takes place in 77, and I remember 1977 very well because all these epic things happened. But you do reference the Snake River jump, which was a couple of years earlier, and that was such a huge event. I remember as a kid, they told us that they were going to put Evil Knievel in a rocket and fire him over a canyon. And nothing sparked our imagination more than that. And there was I don't think it was broadcast. All I know is that we were visiting my cousin in Worcester, Mass, and we raced out to the car to listen to what happened. And they said, well, looks like he didn't make it. And I thought,
They thought he died.
They thought he died
Yeah.
because he misses. I don't even think he came close.
No, he did not. It was like one of those rockets from like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote rockets, like really makeshift. And one of the other things that's so weird about it is that this was actually considered like an athletic event. Like he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. This is not a sport. This wasn't, first of all, he was barely a good motorcycle rider to begin with. Like he just was like the
He was willing to try.
Yes.
And it's so funny because in this book, one of your main characters, one of the two children,
Ike,
and Ike is working with, and you make this point that he's not even riding motorcycles, and I'm guessing that you have done the research on this. Ike is complaining because he has to kind of check out the machinery and everything, and he's working for Evil Knievel, and he has to check out the machinery, and I'm guessing you researched this, that he's riding bikes you're not even supposed to jump in.
No, they're not good. They're not good for jumping.
It's like Harleys and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really weird, but he was just willing to do it, and he built this, incredible career that kind of, in 77, is kind of the beginning of the end of it. 74 was like his big, there are people our age, Conan, who think that they remember him jumping over the Grand Canyon, but that never happened. It was Snake River and he never made it. It was in a rocket ship, not on a motorcycle.
Yeah, let's clear that up. Because we have people, we get people texting us all the time.
Yeah, Evil himself.
Yeah. I interviewed Evil Knievel on the Late Night show.
Did you really?
And all I remember is it was not long before he passed, and he didn't move very well.
No.
And I remember because I think the thing that every kid knew. This is how big Evil Knievel was. We all knew everything about Evil Knievel. I had his toy. There was
the ripcord, the wind up.
Yeah, you would wind up a motorcycle and you could do jumps with it. And I spent thousands of hours with my Evil Knievel wind up. And it would crash just like Evil would and fly into pieces. But Evil Knievel, what we all knew is that he had broken every bone in his body like 15 times.
And so there's a scene at the beginning of the book that's based on a real event, which is in January 1977, he literally jumps sharks. Then this is like 7 months before Fonz did it.
Wow.
Like he set up a pool in Chicago. And I think ABC maybe had soured on him, so he was doing it for CBS. It was a special. It was going to be hosted by Telly Savalas and Jill St. John, of course.
And by the way, they were the original hosts of this podcast. It was Telly Savalas. It was Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend with Telly Savalas and Jill St. John.
And he was going, and it was, and everything, because this is post Jaws. Jaws was, huge bestselling
75,
book.
yeah,
and huge film, and so everything was Jaws, and so he came up with this idea. And so much of the stuff in the book having to do with Evil Knievel is just real from his actual press conferences, from his actual events. And he in rehearsals hurt himself, and so the entire special went on, but he wasn't part of it. And
yeah, because who needs Evil Knievel in an Evil Knievel special?
He didn't jump the shark at all?
He did, but he landed wrong. His problem was always the landing.
But you mean he hurt himself?
Not the jumping.
Okay. In the rehearsal and then went on to do it, or didn't?
No, was rushed to the hospispital with broken bones.
What was the special? What did they do?
All the other side acts.
Yeah. And occasionally they'd cut away to the hospital. And the doctor would say, we're extracting a shark's fin. You know what's funny that's in the book that you talk about, and it's a really funny scene, is them trying to get the sharks, and they don't get good sharks.
No, they're awful sharks.
They're like small sharks that
they're like little lemon sharks.
They're in no way. He's basically jumping, koi with larger dorsal fins.
And they had a camera in the pool just in case he landed in the pool. You could see the shark eat him.
Oh my God.
And the sharks were treated horribly, and a bunch of them died on their way from Florida to Chicago, where they held this in the middle of the winter in January.
Stuff you couldn't get around. I mean, now if you want to abuse a shark, it's much harder.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, you looked into it.
Oh, trust me. I have a beef with those sharks.